Half in the bag. The devil is my hairdo.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Half in the Bag. I'm Jay.
And I'm Mike. And this week we saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Our therapy enables the brain to repair itself.
We call it
The cure.
I want you to start testing on chimps ASAP.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes is a prequel to the successful Planet of the Apes series. This film stars James Franco and a CGI monkey. So, Jay, what did you think of Rise of the Planet of the Apes, or Rotpota, as it will soon be called?
Yes. Well, I guess the big question is, does the world really need a Planet of the Apes prequel?
No.
The answer, of course, is no, but the world now has a prequel to Planet of the Apes, and it's really damn good. So good it justifies its pointless existence.
Wow, you're going with the really damn good. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed the film. It took a lot to warm me up to it, but when I was warmed up to it, I enjoyed it. I was very impressed with the movie, primarily the fact that they were able to make a coherent story using leftover footage of James Franco's other films.
It really was impressive how it took different scenes and different shots from his previous movies and edited it in a way where you almost believe he's interacting with these creatures.
Right. You almost believe he was there filming in this movie.
They're not people, you know.
It's impressive with this movie how the human characters are the least sympathetic and the least human in the movie. And everything with the apes I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
It did a great job of getting you emotionally invested in these completely animated monkeys.
Yeah, well, you do become emotionally invested towards the end. For me, and probably for most audiences, it takes a while to warm up to it. I absolutely hated the first 15, 20 minutes of the movie. I hate science movies when it felt like a trailer. Like it's like, I've discovered the chemical. Nope, we've got to get that chemical on the market in 5 minutes. It's so simplistic. Like, have you ever seen the movie called Splice?
Yes.
You have. I like that movie. I like the premise. I like the character conflicts and all the drama in that movie. But the science scenes I just hated. I hated the fact that they had to be like cool rock star scientists with their leather jackets, and they're like, yeah, we're hip, we're scientists. And it's like, you have this giant monitor, and it's like, DNA, 100% match.
Well, that's like in a lot of 80s movies, whenever anyone's using a computer, all they do is sort of mash their fingers on the keys, and things happen on the screen. It makes no sense.
And I completely understand the need to simplify down those elements to tell the story. Like,
sure.
But I was like, oh God, are they really bringing the ape up to the boardroom with all the investors there? But
that didn't bother me so much in this movie because that's not really the focus of the movie. It's more about the ape and what happens to him afterwards.
Right.
Once I didn't love the first part, but where the movie really kicked off for me was when the Caesar character was getting older, learning things, and he really does have quite an arc throughout the course of the movie.
This one.
all the human parts seem to just stick out.
Yeah.
Like a
well,
sore
especially
thumb.
as the movie goes along.
Yeah, you
and
kinda-
it focuses more and more on the apes, and then it'll cut back to the humans, and you're like, I don't care about any of these people.
Yeah.
Like, get back to the apes.
Well,
They're great.
I think that's what it wanted to do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they casted James Franco. was because he's such a non-presence.
It's just, especially in this movie, he's just like a blank slate.
Yeah, well, he's got that dumb look on his face all the time, and he always looks like he's stoned.
Yeah.
This is wrong, Will.
It works.
He can be good. He can be good in the right parts. I recently saw 127 Hours, and he's really good. It's not a very good movie, in my opinion, but he's really good in it.
Okay.
But this is one of those, I don't know if it's like just him as like actor for hire, because he's sort of a weird artsy guy.
Yeah.
And this is just sort of like him getting a paycheck.
I was very happy to see a beautiful Indian woman in the lead romantic interest role. You don't see a lot of like Indian women in lead roles
true.
in Hollywood movies. I was expecting like some dumb bimbo to be in there.
Kate Bosworth.
Kate
Bosworth. Is that an
Bosworth?
actress?
Yeah, and she was great. I mean, her character wasn't.
There was no character.
That was kind of shocking. Was like it's like he takes the monkey to a vet, and I'm like, oh, it's the vet character.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he wants me to take you out to dinner, and then it's like, oh, does he know her previously? And then the next scene, they're dating.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's not like Captain America where the relationship stuff is brushed over, but that's a major part of the movie.
Yeah.
And it was so early on that doesn't really affect the story. But then again, neither does anything with the girlfriend character.
I don't know. I just thought that was unique. And same with the boss at the Genesis. It was a black guy with an English accent. He was the money grubbing CEO. It wasn't a bald white man.
Yes.
I don't care about anything but profits.
But he was kind of a villain character. And I thought that was unique. It wasn't typical.
Yeah.
Same with the choice of the female lead. I thought it was weird to have John Lithgow in there.
You look at him and he's instantly funny.
It's just John Lithgow's face. I think they picked him because John Lithgow looks like Droopy, the
Sure.
dog.
He does. I never
Well,
thought about
he
that.
has like a
Yeah.
sympathetic face. He
Yeah.
doesn't like you don't cast Anthony Hopkins in that role.
Right.
Anthony Hopkins looks like a mean motherfucker. And you don't cast him in the sympathetic, oh, I have Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Where's my brain? You know,
Because you're like, that's Hannibal Lecter.
yes,
Yeah.
or Terrence Stamp or someone else like that who just looks mean.
Yeah.
You cast John Lithgow.
Jonathan Lipnicki.
You cast John Lithgow, who looks like a sympathetic old guy, but at the same time, you're like, he's funny.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene where he thinks he's getting into his car, and he's smashing it, and all I did was replace the music in my brain, and it was like, doom, 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 boom, 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 wow, doom, doom, hey, that's my car. Boom, doom, 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 oh no! And I was just giggling to myself.
Yeah.
Scenes-
This movie, I really did like it a lot, but it does have a lot of really unintentionally funny things in it.
Yes, the neighbor character.
The poor neighbor character, I think he's supposed to be a dick in the movie, but every time you see him in the movie, he's just, something horrible happens to him.
He was just trying to protect his children from a wild gorilla.
I know, I just felt bad. Like I picture him like, it's a living nightmare living next to you, James Franco. So there is a tremendous amount of CGI in the movie. The apes are completely CGI through the whole thing. What did you think about the effects in the film?
Well, at first, I thought, oh no, it's this. And after a while, it really grows on you. And there are parts where the apes don't look completely realistic, but you can't just, I've seen some comments go, oh, CGI apes are terrible. And they just like disregard everything, like all that hard work,
Yeah.
all that, and it's like, it's really good.
Well, my concern before seeing the movie is actually similar to a concern I had before Lord of the Rings came out, which was before that movie came out, I heard that they were taking regular actors and digitally shrinking them to play hobbits. And I was like, that's lame. Just cast a bunch of midgets. It worked so well in Willow. But then I saw the movie, and of course I had to eat my words on that. And it was similar to this, where I heard that there was CG apes the whole movie. They were never realistic, and I was like, oh, come on, just cast real apes and do some digital trickery for certain things if you need to. But when you see the movie, I think it works better having them CG through the whole thing because you get accustomed to it. And it would be like in Spider-Man, the Spider-Man movie, whenever you see Peter Parker and just him in his outfit, and then he jumps off a building and it immediately cuts to CG Peter Parker. And it is completely jarring and takes you out of the scene.
Yeah.
And had they done that with this cutting back and forth, I don't think it would have worked. It's very seamless, and after a while you just start to accept it.
Yeah.
And you don't even really think about it as effects anymore.
You can complain about CGI all you want, but this is a movie where it works to the movie's advantage completely.
Well, and there's a lot of movies where the CGI work and it just feels like, work for hire, where it's just slapped in effects. This is one where you can really tell that there was a deliberate attempt made to really sort of push the technology forward in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. Unlike Lucas's prequel films,
Right.
where he's pushing technology to be more lazy.
Yes.
We can just put all fake backgrounds everywhere. I'm changing the face of cinema, like I did in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no. With any movie, you know, I mean, you can take a movie from the past that has just terrible special effects, you know, dated special effects. But if you care about the characters and what's going on, then
Sure.
that can go away. And we're talking about being adjusted to really good special effects.
Yeah.
The whole middle section of the movie is all apes. It's the character Caesar in the ape prison, you know, slowly working his escape plan and slowly becoming smarter and all that. And it's really well done, and it's but it's like, and then we cut back to James Franco. He's like, "Want to come back home with me, Caesar?" And it's like, why would he want that? Who are you? Why are you in this movie? What's going on?
Yeah.
I don't care about you.
None of the humans are particularly good or memorable in this. They all get upstaged by the apes, which I know the apes are the stars, but
Well, when the movie opens, they show a poaching scene, and I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Humans are bad.
You're worried
the
about
apes are going to destroy the world, but it becomes very different.
yeah.
The story becomes much different than that, and I really was expecting apes to start just slaughtering people by the dozen, you know, at the end of the movie, and everyone going, "Yay!
Yeah.
Get those bad humans!"
Well,
get
on the other end
it's
of that,
completely not that.
Yeah, I was also expecting there to be more cruelty towards the apes than
Yeah.
there was. There is some, but it's mild, and I was really expecting them to push that way too far.
Yeah, but they didn't.
And it handled that without getting too manipulative.
I do feel like a fool talking about these movies as them being like smart entertainment, because this isn't. I mean, there's a lot of movies out there that are so much smarter. I just wanted to point this out to the audience. This is in context of summer movies,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
not in context of movies, because I pointed out that Cowboys and Aliens was a cinematic bowel movement. I specifically meant in context of summer movies.
Sure.
And this movie, we're talking about apes running at humans and how it's done tastefully.
Yeah.
And we're just in this mindset of summer movies being horribly stupid.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of them.
Well, there's an inherent silliness to the entire Planet of the Apes idea, all these movies. Like, I always think, when I think of the first movie, I think of, like, only in the 60s. Only in the 60s would they make a movie like that seriously, where I'm picturing them like, you know what would be crazy, man? If, like, apes ran the world and we were kept in cages?
Yeah, right.
You just blew my mind.
Right. Two
It
guys
says
on
so much
LSD.
about, like, society
And stuff.
and politics and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
but the movie's played completely straight, and those movies have sort of a campy quality
Yes,
to them now.
definitely.
And this movie does have a lot of unintentionally funny stuff with the apes, but the fact that the ape characters are sympathetic and well drawn sort of balances that out a bit.
Yeah, it's believable enough for what it is. It's as well done of a movie as you'll get with that subject matter.
Yeah. Well, also science fiction related, we recently attended Cyphan Con, which is a convention in Chicago, Illinois. It's the second year they've done it, and it's dedicated to science fiction, steampunk, comic books, cosplay, steampunk, Star Wars, Star Trek, steampunk, and steampunk.
Oh, don't forget steampunk.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They also had steampunk there.
Well, you mentioned Star Trek. They had a lot of Star Trek things there, but most importantly, they had Star Trek trivia, which I participated in.
How'd you do at Star Trek Trivia?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Jay, because my team won.
Oh, what'd you win?
I won this toy.
What is that?
What do you mean, what is it? It's a Klingon disruptor from Star Trek Generations.
Oh, that's your favorite Star Trek movie, right?
You're right, it is. Bam! So the Sci-Fi Con also had a film festival going on during it. Mostly horror films, low-budget horror films. Our fucking horrible flop movie Feeding Frenzy played in the film festival.
I've had the frenzies before for other things, but not Feeding Frenzy.
And after the screening, we did a Q&A. So yeah, that was really great. After the screening, to meet some of the fan that showed up and field the question. The convention had a lot of guests, too. Robert Picardo was there. He played the Doctor in Star Trek Voyager.
Do you know what this is from?
I have no idea what it's from, but I just thought it looked science fiction-y, and I'm happy we're here.
You're a big Star Trek fan. I'm a big Joe Dante fan, and he falls into both worlds.
Gremlins 2, Inner Space. You were the...
I've probably done 15 jobs with Joe. Between the scenes cutting up on The Howling, which was primarily a dramatic role, showed him that I had a good sense of humor, and then most of the other roles I've done for him since then have been comedic.
And speaking of Joe Dante, Robert Picardo was in Gremlins 2 with Zach Galligan.
Do you know how much the Clamp organization has spent to provide its employees with art by recognized artists?
And then Zach Galligan later appears on Star Trek Voyager.
Don't touch me. Disease! Humans!
You do run into people that you worked with years before. As time goes by and everybody remains in the profession and everybody has a working career and a successful career, instead of looking at them as your competitors, they really become your old friends.
And I even asked him what it was like to work with Andy Dick.
What are you doing? Activating intruder alert. That's the last thing you want to do. Secure and listen to me.
I remember the first thing he said to me was, your name Picardo is so close to Captain Picard. Do you get teased a lot? And I said, wait a minute. Your name is Andy Dick and you're going to make fun of mine? And they have those little close-up boxes in TV Guide that feature a special episode or a special guest star. I was a little afraid of if they had a picture of me and Andy Dick, what the caption might be. Picardo loves Dick. Picardo handles Dick. Picardo and Dick inseparable.
So on one of Robert Picardo's glossy pictures that he sells his autograph on, I noticed he was holding a thrombic modulator.
Oh.
And it's actually in the Andy Dick episode, where him and Andy Dick play gay holograms that save a Starfleet ship.
Get me the thrombic modulator.
He signed his picture to us from the keeper of the thrombic modulator. But Jay, you also met an actor that you are just enamored with.
It made my whole weekend.
Hey guys, we're at Cyphan 2011, and normally when we go to these conventions, I don't get into the whole dressing up thing, but when I found out Richard Hatch was going to be here, I decided to get my cosplay on and go as Dan Roebuck from Prisoners of the Lost Universe. Guess who I'm dressed as? I'm Dan Roebuck from Prisoners of the Lost Universe.
That's obscure.
All right, we're here with Richard Hatch, who of course everyone knows from Battlestar Galactica, but I personally am a big fan of a movie called Prisoners of the Lost Universe.
Oh my God, no! You know, the falling dead people off the cliff scene was probably one of the worst ones in history, but it's so bad that it's probably funny.
What's going on?
I'm glad you like it. I hope you bought up the only remaining copy. I want you to sign this little document that says you will never let it out of your hands, and if you decide you don't want it anymore, you will burn it.
What's a convention without Rich Evans? The most awkward, uncomfortable person around.
Hi, this is Rich Evans at the Sci-Fi Con at the Hyatt in Rosemont, Illinois. Who are you dressed as today, sir?
We talked to some stormtroopers.
How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right.
He talked to some attractive ladies.
I'm here with Riverwalk Pinup Studios. We're a studio located out of Evanston, and we do an array of pinup to fantasy type of photo shoots.
He wanted to talk to them specifically.
Why would he want to talk to attractive women?
I think he's a sex pervert.
How do you feel about our current national debt crisis?
Oh, well, that one there, I went in there at the open there, and then, went on to me.
That may be the most insightful commentary I have heard on the issue.
Bam! So we had an interesting time at Sci-Fan Con this year. It's a smaller convention because it's only in its second year, but all big things start somewhere, and so maybe someday it might be a huge convention. But what else happened at Sci-Fan Con other than you got raped in the parking lot?